Ladder hem stitching can add some really pretty details to your weaving, and the great thing about it is that if you know how to do a basic hem stitch at the beginning and end of a piece of woven fabric, you already know how to do ladder hem stitching. We're going to start our ladder hem stitching by reviewing how to do hem stitching at the end of a piece of woven fabric. Leave a long tail of yarn from your last weft row, about 4 times the width of your project. We'll be working from right to left, just like the hem stitching at the beginning of the piece. With the hem stitching at the beginning of the project, we worked up into the fabric. With the hem stitching at the end of our project, we'll be working down into the fabric. Thread your yarn onto a tapestry needle. Bring your needle behind the first 2 warp threads. Count downward 2 weft threads and bring your needle through to the front of the fabric. Pull your yarn through. To complete the first stitch, bring your needle diagonally across to the front of the stitch and move it behind and around the 2 warp threads. Pull the yarn through and pull snug to finish the first stitch. We'll repeat the process for the next stitch. Bring your needle behind 2 warp threads, down 2 weft threads. Bring your needle through that point and pull your yarn to the front of the fabric. Bring your needle diagonally across to the beginning of the stitch, back behind your 2 warp threads, and pull your yarn through. One more time, we'll bring our needle behind 2 warp threads, down 2 weft threads. Pull your needle to the front of the fabric, pull your yarn all the way through. Bring your needle and yarn diagonally across back to the beginning of the stitch. Loop around behind your 2 warp threads. Pull your yarn through to the front of the fabric, and then tighten up your yarn to finish the stitch. So to start the second part of the ladder hem stitch, we want to put a spacer in for whatever width you want between the bottom section and the top section. And then we're going to weave about 1 inch . Make sure you keep several lengths of yarn loose when you start weaving, and that's what we'll use to do the hem stitching. Now we're still doing a 2x2 pattern, so we're going to come behind, I'm going to go over 2 warps, up 2 wefts, and then we're going to come across and back to the beginning, which in this case is along the edge, and we're going to loop around. We're going to keep the loop here anyway. We're going to come around, come from the back to the front over top of this loop, we're going to tug up. There we go. And Come behind 2, up 2, cross over, come back, loop around and behind the 2 warp threads at the base, come through over your little loop here, tug to close it, two across, 2 up, pull through from the back to the front, create a little loop here, just to keep the visual. Go back to the beginning, and then go behind and around 2 warp threads, pull through. Cross 2, cross 2 warps, up 2 wefts, create a little loop, go back to the beginning where we started our stitch, go around and behind 2 warp threads, pull through over top of the loop, and then tug to finish. If you know how to do basic hem stitching, ladder hem stitching is a really simple way to start adding more detailed work to your woven pieces. I hope you'll experiment with this technique and let me know how it goes in the comments.